Okay, great. What I want us to do next is scan. Perform another scan. I understand we only have a single API that is reachable, but nonetheless, I want to perform a scan because I like to show you piecemeal the information that we're receiving from uh, active testing. Okay, piecemeal, small steps, in other words. Okay, let's go to scans. All right, we're going to run one more scan. Execute it. Pay attention to your terminal, please. Pay attention to your terminal. All right, the scan is running. You can see scanning up here. All right, and now pay attention. There's tons of information that are displayed. All right, tons of information that are displayed. Completed. You don't get any more of this warning because at least one of your APIs is, one of the two APIs is reachable, right? And it is scannable, which means 50%, not less than 25%, is reachable. So 50% of your APIs are reachable, so you don't get any more of that warning. The duration now took 7 seconds. Why? Because we had something we can scan, we can test. Two APIs, we found 4 issues. Here's the result. Right? This is a visual indicator to see whether you have medium, high, low types of errors. If you select the row, now you're going to see all the different security issues that were triggered. As you can see, we have high, we have medium, we have low, we have informational that is, and so on. Right? Let's start from the top. By the way, you have issues that specific to the API, and then you have issues that are environment level issues. That means they don't associate to any of the APIs. Right? They don't associate to any of the APIs. Let's start with post users. And again, you can select them. Right? Post users, admin APIs, unauthenticated. Again, the API is tagged as administrative API. And yet we are allowing requests without any authentication. And the look and feel pretty much has a description that explains what the issue is all about. It gives you recommendations, and then it gives you specific findings. Okay, you have on the issue details, like which OWASP it applies to. If there was a CWE identifier, you will see it right here. What's the status, which scan it was discovered, when it was detected, what environment, and so on. And then all the way to the bottom, you're going to see the timeline. Very, very similar to that reachability timeline, but you're going to get to see the timeline. And here it is. We created a brand new user, and this user was able to get created without using any authentication. I don't know. Somehow you got to create users. If I was a developer, I would probably use a cookie authentication type of mechanism in order to identify the system. Right? At the very least, somehow your users have to log in, have to authenticate, have to register, right? Somehow. Okay, so I'm number 1. I'm going to go and select number 2 because this is the breadcrumb link and it's going to take me back to the scan results. And of course, we have a weak password policy, right? DOE. Is DOE an appropriate password? And you see it right here. Password DOE. You're being told. Hey man, that's not a good password. Make sure you use hardened password policies, at least 12 characters long, contains upper and lowercase characters, and so on. Right? Right? All the information are here, the request, the response, and so on. Back to the scan results. The first environment. Remember that server information that I showed you earlier on? So if I select this, it's going to tell you, hey buddy, you have a server that actually exposes the technology you use to implement your application. Python, worksorg, so on. It's in the response. It's a response header. It's in the response. Here it is. Right? Fix it. Don't do stuff like this. And last but not least, look at this. This is informational, but it's here because there is an undocumented API. Active testing discover an endpoint, a resource, an operation, an API that is there, but it's not part of your source. Get/users. There is such an operation, but I left it out so that we get to see this type of informational security vulnerability. This tells me that my source is out of sync with my implementation. That's what it tells me. And it actually tells me more. It tells me, hey man, we send the get users and we got 400 as opposed to the corresponding 405. That means that active testing operates with zero trust. It doesn't trust us. We uploaded the OpenAPI specification. We said, hey, here's my APIs, but it's not going to trust us because it's going to go ahead and it's going to try to access, it's going to try to use every single method across our resources, and it's going to try to identify additional resources that we may have not disclosed. Zero trust. And if I show you the logs, if I go back to the logs, you're actually going to see that. Get users, 400. Active testing tried to do put users, 405. Tries to do patch users, 405, right? That's the expected result. Copy users, delete users. Doesn't trust us, guys. Does not trust us. And you can see it here, right? The get API users, you got 400 bucks. Message failure, and so on, right? So it is accessible. Okay, cool, great. So we scanned, we performed a scan that actually scanned the post users, and we explored the results. We analyzed the results. So we're done with this section, but in the next section, we're going to go ahead and establish reachability for the post tokens, right? And then we're going to have both our APIs reachable and scannable. For the time being, this section is also done, guys.